into Mount once again. He's got Marcos Alonso ahead of him down the left-hand touchline. Goes back towards his own goal, though, to Antonio Rudiger, who takes a couple of touches and then plays it in field. One sort of statistic that's coincided with West Ham's recent drop-off in form is the lack of goals from Michail Antonio. Just 1 goal in his last 8 Premier League games. He had scored 5 in his first 5. But the goals have certainly dried up for the front man. As Mason Mount plays the ball in field, little give and go with Jorginho, but again he's forced back, and at the moment the Hammers holding the shape really well, and Chelsea are finding it difficult to break through.
No, West Ham are very regimented here. We've seen them change their shape slightly. They've got a back 3 now with the 2 wing backs dropping very deep and playing as right back and left back for most of the part, due to Chelsea having all the possession. But they're keeping their shape well, and they're very structured, and Chelsea are really struggling to break through this.
Mount brings it down brilliantly. Jared Bowen will collect it now for the Hammers. Facing his own goal, hassled and harried by Antonio Rudiger, and in the end fouled by the German centre-back. So it will be a free kick to West Ham, level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Just looking at the replay, and there's the slightest of touch, isn't there, from Rudiger. Sort of kicks through Bowen to get to the ball.
Yeah, he just tries to sweep the ball from underneath him, but it's a credit to this Chelsea press that when they do lose the ball, players like Rudiger are right there. I mean, he's a centre-back and he's in line with the West Ham penalty area, so it just shows how Thomas Tuchel has them playing in this way, where they press teams heavy when they lose the ball and they're instantly right back on top, and they love to keep the ball themselves. So it's just the way they play, and it's going to happen. Small fouls are going to be stuck in areas like that, but that's all the way they play.
Chelsea last season actually did the double over West Ham. Their head-to-head record is relatively close. In the last 6 home matches at the London Stadium, or the last 6 home matches for West Ham, across the London Stadium and Upton Park, West Ham have actually won 3 of them, drawing 1 and losing the other 2. So it is quite a tight game. It normally is a tight game between these two. Myself and Harry were talking before the game, expecting there to only be 1, maybe 2 goals in this. Not a lot between these two. As Declan Rice was fouled there, the referee Andre Mariner agrees, but allows play to go on with Thomas Souček on this right-hand side. Little ball in field for Jared Bowen, who finds Vladimir Soufal. First time we've seen Soufal pushing forward down this right-hand side, as Bowen and Lanzini now combine, but Bowen's forced backwards to Craig Dawson, to Declan Rice. Rice hassled by Hakim Ziyech, and he's just trotting from right to left at the moment, Declan Rice in possession, while not being pressed by anybody really, as Michail Antonio loses his footing as the ball was played up to him. So Chelsea will get back on the ball with Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Not seen much of the resurgent central midfielder, shall we say, making probably his 3rd comeback in Chelsea colours. Seems to drift into obscurity, and then a new manager comes in and he gets his chance. At the moment he's in possession here, finding Mason Mount. Now Marcos Alonso into Mount once again. Mount just to the left of centre, inside the West Ham half, finds Marcos Alonso. Good ball from him into Kai Havertz, whose cushioned pass bobbled up horribly. He spooned it, but Chelsea have won it back. Jorginho looking to try and find Marcos Alonso, but it's cleared. And at the moment there's a lack of quality in the final third, more from Chelsea than from West Ham, because we've not seen much of the Hammers getting forward, but Chelsea certainly are finding it difficult to link those final 2 passes together.
Yeah, they've got the quality up front. I mean, we spoke about the quality on the bench with Timo Werner. You've got Christian Pulisic, who we know is a fantastic player and loves to link up play. Romelu Lukaku, obviously. But the players they have at their disposal on the pitch at the minute are more than capable. You've got Mason Mount and Ziyech on either wings, but they are, like you said, struggling with that final killer pass. Maybe, like I mentioned before, a Kovacic, Kante in midfield, they could really boost that Chelsea attacking sense. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, despite his resurgence, like you said, maybe not quite the quality of player Thomas Tuchel would desire, but so far he's doing a job in Chelsea colours. He didn't have the greatest of loan spells at Fulham, but so far in his Chelsea career he hasn't really put a foot wrong.
Lanzini tries to dance forward, fouled in the end by Antonio Rudiger. Andre Mariner saying it's not for the 2nd foul, it's for the 1st one. It looked like play was allowed to go on. Declan Rice initially was fouled by Marcos Alonso, and then Manuel Lanzini did really well to take the ball on. He was then tripped by Antonio Rudiger. And West Ham are complaining, asking why the foul wasn't given for the second one when advantage was played. But Andre Mariner not happy with the amount of advantage, so it will be a free kick nonetheless for West Ham, just maybe 6 or 7 yards further back than originally thought. The Chelsea defensive line are lined up along the edge of the D on the edge of the 18-yard box. The likes of Kurt Zouma, Thomas Souček, Craig Dawson, Issa Diop all forward for the Hammers here with 18.5 minutes on the clock. West Ham 0, Chelsea 0. Left-footed in-swinger. Maybe just over halfway inside the West Ham half. Bowen leaves it for Rice, who whips a dangerous ball in towards Dawson. It's nodded behind in the end, I think, by Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who got there. But that was a wicked ball into the box from Declan Rice.
No, it was really dangerous there from Declan Rice. He's so fantastic, and now he's adding dead ball game into his play, and it was a great ball into the box. But I thought maybe Dawson looked a yard or two offside just as he made his run, but the flag stayed down, so it was well defended by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He was on it because that could have easily been 1-0 West Ham.
Manuel Lanzini to take this corner, right-footed in, swinging from the far side. Dangerous ball in, flicked on towards Souček. It hits him. Dawson will then smuggle it towards goal. But in the end, it's taken comfortably by Edouard Mendy. But Chelsea there unable to clear the first ball or the second. And in the end, fortunate perhaps that it fell to Craig Dawson and not to Mikhail Antonio.
Yeah, well, it's always a difficult task, isn't it, defending set pieces from West Ham. We know their height and their aerial ability. They're so good in the air. They've scored the most goals from set pieces this season, more than any other club, so it's always going to be difficult. But Chelsea have the means to defend against them, but like you said, it was lucky that didn't fall to the likes of Antonio or Bowen, but Craig Dawson instead. Yeah,
they've scored 6 goals actually from set pieces this season. Chelsea have scored 5, so not too far behind them. There's a long header forward from Kurt Zouma. Is dealt with by the Blues. The ball then cannons up in the air as Ben Johnson and Reece James collide. And now Johnson has it again down the line into Mikhail Antonio, who's had to drift wide to get involved. Dangerous ball in from him, too close though to Edouard Mendy, who will take those sorts of crosses all day long. And he gathers it and will restart play. And it's the one cog that hasn't worked for West Ham today has been Mikhail Antonio, just because we've not seen him get on the ball really, and when we have, it's been in those wide areas.
Yeah, I was just going to say, him being out wide and playing a nice ball into the box, it's all well and good playing a nice dangerous ball into the box, but when it's your centre forward that's playing that ball, there's 9 times out of 10 nobody there, and like we saw then, Jarrod Bowen was very late to arrive into the box, which meant there was no one there, and Mendy had an easy catch to claim.
Jorginho caught in possession there by Manuel Lanzini. Ruben Loftus-Cheek does really well, gets across, wins it, then wins the foul going over the outstretched leg of Ben Johnson. And Chelsea look to get going quickly. Restarted by Ziyech. Out now to the left-hand side of Marcos Alonso, who's got Mason Mount with him. Alonso, though, tries to take on Soufal. The attempted ball in is blocked by Soufal, who I think wasn't able to prevent it going for a corner. He slid to try and put it out for a throw-in instead, but a corner is what's been given. And Hakim Ziyech will come across and take this then from this near side. It'll be left-footed out, swinging from Ziyech as he spots the ball down inside the quadrant. We don't see that very often, actually. It's normally sort of hanging on the outside of the quadrant, but the Moroccan has spotted it well with Christensen, Rudiger, Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek and Havertz all inside the area. Ziyech with a dangerous delivery towards the near post, headed away by Vladimir Soufal. And the header goes as clear as Reece James, and now Ziyech again with a little step over, trying to take on Soufal. Finds Jorginho. 35 yards from goal, Jorginho just has to play the ball across from left to right to Andreas Christensen. Back to Jorginho, just about rides the challenge of Jarrod Bowen. Then claims he's been fouled by Declan Rice. And Andre Mariner disagrees. Jorginho almost laid on top of the ball, grabbed it. And Andre Mariner has given the free kick against Jorginho for handball and then yellow carded him, either for his reaction or the fact that he threw the ball away.
I think it's going to be for the reaction, but I completely agree with Jorginho. I'm not really sure why Andre Mariner's not spotted that foul there from Declan Rice. He's turned him well. Rice has just clipped Jorginho's ankles there, just as he's hit on the half turn, and Jorginho's gone down and rightfully so, like, protected the ball in order to say that's obviously a free kick, and Andre Mariner's not allowed it, and then Jorginho's had a couple of complaints, rightfully so, and in doing so, he's got himself a yellow card.
Yeah, as West Ham get into the box for the first time, Antonio with a shot towards goal that scoops a long way over the bar. And in the end, it will be a goal kick. It was a quick free kick, that from West Ham. Long ball forward from Zouma, and Antonio just got the better of Christensen for a second. Christensen perhaps did enough to put Antonio off. But just confirmation there of Jorginho's second booking of the season. We are over the halfway stage in this first half. 23.5 minutes on the clock. Independent off-tube studio-based coverage of the Premier League. West Ham United 0, Chelsea 0. And Harry Jones will take us through to half-time.
Edouard Mendy pushing his centre-half forward there just to take the goal kick. He opts to go long and he sends it long. Looking for Kai Havertz, but Craig Dawson's there first, and he heads down to Jarrod Bowen, who goes back to Declan Rice, and he's being chased by Havertz, but he finds Issa Diop, who goes out wide to Ben Johnson, who looks for a ball in towards Mikel Antonio, but Christensen was there first, and now Ruben Loftus-Cheek will get Chelsea underway on the attack. Reece James finds Jorginho, who spreads the play out on the left towards Mason Mount. He's got Marcus Alonso in support down this left-hand side. He's just turned and faced. He's not got many options, so he's gone back to Rudiger. Rudiger into Thiago Silva, who stops with the ball at his feet, just assessing his options, and goes towards Christensen. Christensen plays the ball out to Reece James on the right-hand side, who goes in towards Havertz. Havertz does well to find Ziyech. Ziyech turns back on towards his own goal and slows the play down back to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who finds Ziyech again. A nice 1-2 between the couple. Reece James now turns and faces from Declan Rice and goes into Jorginho. Jorginho into Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva finds Rudiger, who's quite high up the pitch here as he goes out to Alonso. Alonso swings the ball into the box, but it's headed by Zuma. Back to Alonso. Chelsea are struggling to break this West Ham press. They seem to be doing a lot of sideways passing. Yeah, they are. They're having to go from side to side to open up any sort of space, just because Chelsea are digging in, or West Ham are digging in as a cross comes in, and Havertz nods the ball comfortably for Lucas Fabianski to make the save. It's the first time a cross into the box has actually caused a problem for West Ham. Havertz in a good position, gets up well and just doesn't quite get the contact required and an easy save. But they are struggling. They're having to go from side to side to open things up. But because West Ham have matched them up and are playing that 3 or 5 at the back, depending which way you want to look at it, with then Declan Rice supporting, it's making it really, really congested in the middle, which is why they're having to bypass it going wide. But then they go out wide and they've got the same against them because they've got wide players, be that Bowen and Lanzini, battling back to help the wing-backs. So it's a really interesting tactical battle at the moment, which I think, if you were to look on the balance of play, I think West Ham are probably winning that battle because they are frustrating the Blues so far. Yes, Soufal has a couple of words in his ear from his manager David Moyes as he takes the throw-in. Finds Thomas Souček. Bowen flicks it into Soufal again, who's one-on-one with Marcus Alonso here. He's trying to take him on. He plays a nice ball into Souček through the legs of Rudiger, and Souček tries to flick the ball in towards the box, but it's well shielded by Marcus Alonso and tries to clear, but Soufal's there first and it rolls out for a Chelsea throw just in line with their own penalty area. Chelsea will look to break down this West Ham press, who are boxing them in slightly here with Lanzini and Rice and Souček, and Soufal holding the ball in towards the corner. Alonso finds Jorginho with the throw, and Alonso clears now up the field, just keeps the ball in play. Havertz chasing down Ben Johnson, who flicks the ball into Antonio's feet. Antonio tries to hold off Christensen, but he doesn't do so. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek now finds Reece James, and Chelsea are now on the attack here with Kai Havertz down the right. He takes it past Issa Diop and tries to flick the ball into the box, and Diop gets a vital foot in and it will roll out for a corner. Yeah, he did well to recover, actually, did Diop, because it looked like he'd been left for dead by Havertz. A little turn of pace from the Frenchman enabled him to get back and put the challenge in. But again, Mikel Antonio, the man in possession, in a wide position, loses out, and then Chelsea break quickly. It's one thing they do well under Thomas Tuchel. They're not afraid to change it up, and if they have the opportunity to counter, they look to try and take it. But a set-piece opportunity, as we said earlier, both these sides are good from set pieces, and West Ham will want to try and keep this one out the back of the net. Yes, the ball's looking to come in from Mason Mount. He tries to find Ruben Loftus-Cheek and flicks the header towards goal, but I think it's cleared once again by a West Ham player. For another corner on the far side. Be a out-swinging ball into the box again from Mason Mount. He'll look to deliver and find one of his bigger players in the box. He swings the ball in again, looking for Thiago Silva. It's a great header, and Thiago Silva flicks home to put Chelsea in the lead here at the London Stadium.
It's a lovely ball into the box, and Silva just able to get away from his man. Nice header. I don't think he actually jumps at it. I think he's completely unchallenged, unmarked and unfazed. His header down into the floor, skips off the turf, and it's a difficult one. I think Lucas Fabianski, when he sees it again, will be disappointed because he gets a hand to it, can only tip it onto the inside of the post and then into the back of the net. Just looking, it's Michail Antonio who should be marking Thiago Silva. Doesn't do enough. It's a good header from Silva. Fabianski so close to keeping it out, but Chelsea finally get themselves the lead. Now it'll be interesting to see what West Ham can do and whether they come out the blocks and try and have a real go now.
Yeah, well, it was completely within the run of play, I feel. I think Chelsea have been on top in this game so far, and Fabianski's very unlucky there not to tip that past the post, but the header just had enough strength on it from Thiago Silva, and now be interesting to see how Thomas Tuchel sets up now, and after going 1-0 up here, see if he attacks West Ham more and tries to get a second, as West Ham now get the game back underway with a long ball. It's headed clear by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Reece James now tries to nod home, but Antonio's there harrying Christensen, and Christensen can only keep the ball out. He keeps it in, actually. I thought he was going to let it roll out for a corner, but Ben Johnson will swing a ball into the box now, looking for Thomas Tuchel. It's headed away by Marcos Alonso. It's another great effort from Vladimir Soufal there, who tries to find the bottom corner. It's a fantastic effort. He's hit it on the half volley, and Edouard Mendy's done really well there to get down and keep it out.
Well, I think Edouard Mendy misses it. I think it's cleared off the line by Thiago Silva. It's a good strike from Soufal. Yeah, block off. Hero at one end, hero at the other.
It was a fantastic block. It's a great 5 minutes from Thiago Silva there to keep his team in the lead here, and still not 0 goals conceded in this game for Chelsea. It's very lucky, you may say, but Silva was in the right place at the right time, and Chelsea want to slow the play down now and try and calm things down and restore some possession and keep hold of this lead as Thiago Silva plays the ball back towards Edouard Mendy, who goes out wide to Christensen. Christensen goes back to his goalkeeper. Mendy now goes across this left-hand side, who finds Rudiger and into Jorginho. A nice 1-2 between Jorginho and Marcos Alonso, who's set Alonso on his way, but he goes in towards Loftus-Cheek, and Loftus-Cheek has found Reece James now in this central area, like we mentioned. Goes out to Mason Mount, who plays a nice ball into the box, but it's cleared by Kurt Zouma, who's looking for Kai Havertz, and it's come back out to Reece James again, who's flicked the ball into the box, but Havertz was still offside there, so he won't be able to get onto it, and West Ham clear only as far as Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek into Havertz, who goes back to the midfielder, who goes out wide to Mason Mount. Mason Mount just asking for an option here, but none were there, and he goes back to Loftus-Cheek again and into Jorginho. The Chelsea midfield are quite compact in the middle of the park here. There's not much width as Silva looks for an option. He goes out wide towards Reece James, who's got a bit of space ahead of him. Plays the ball into Mason Mount. He plays a nice ball across the box, but Marcos Alonso couldn't quite get a finishing touch on it, but it's rolled all the way out towards the left where Ziyech there. He's played another nice ball into the box, but it's fallen to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who has an effort, and that was just deflected there into the hands of Lucas Fabianski. It wasn't going to trouble the goalkeeper from that range.
Yeah, in the end it was comfortable, wasn't it? Just bounced off. I think Declan Rice was the man who got out trying to block it. It's really interesting, this Chelsea doing what they've done a lot this season, which is going for the jugular. They're not happy to just go 1-0 and sit back. They want to kill teams off as best as they possibly can, and they're trying to do that, and they're trying to catch West Ham whilst they're wounded from going behind. It's the goal has really ignited the game, I think. All of a sudden it's becoming stretched at times. As you said before, it's still really congested in the middle, but once the teams are spreading the ball out wide now, there is room because the middle is as congested as it is. It was a good effort from West Ham a few moments ago as well, so a good reaction, a really positive reaction for the game for both of these sides.
There's Rudiger charging forward now as finds Marcos Alonso, who swings a ball in towards the near post, and Kai Havertz tries to get on there first, but Issa Diop does really well to flick his leg in and put the challenge in, because that was a dangerous effort from Chelsea.
Yeah, it's great movement from Kai Havertz, because he goes across the right, then breaks infield into the left between Zouma and Diop. In the end, it's a really good recovering challenge from Diop, who watched it all the way. But that's what Kai Havertz brings as a forward. His movement, his intelligence inside the penalty area is very, very good. Timo Werner's the same, but just hasn't quite had the look in terms of finishing since moving to Stamford Bridge. But there, good move from Havertz, but decent defending.
Kim Ziyech looks to take the corner on this near side now. He flicks the ball into the box looking for a Chelsea body. It's headed clear by Kurt Zouma, only as far as Reece James. Christensen will have an effort from range there, but he went for the spotlights and it didn't quite come off. It was too high and too wide.
Yeah, he went for the spotlight and nearly hit a floodlight. Not really the greatest of finishes from Andreas Christensen. You can see why he went for it, 'cause he had time and space, but he's 40 yards out and a centre-half who doesn't score goals from 40 yards out. So just looking again at the two Thiago Silva, shall we say, incidents. The first one, the goal, a really good header from him. The second one, a really good clearance. At the moment, despite a shaky start from him, he's the player that has made a difference in this game.
Yeah, as West Ham pick up on a loose ball with Declan Rice, he goes out wide too. Vladimir Soufal, who tries to find the English defensive midfielder again, but the ball's cleared only as far as Ziyech, who's fouled there by Craig Dawson inside the Chelsea half, and talking to by the referee as we see David Moyes barking orders to his team, desperately trying to get back into this game. Very unlucky to not be back in this game with the effort, like we mentioned, that was cleared off the line by Thiago Silva. Thomas Tuchel looks very composed and calm. He's not stood up or anything. He's sat down and must be happy with the way his team have played in this first half so far, as Rudiger gets the play back underway with a free kick. Long ball forward to Kai Havertz, and he's done well to latch onto it. He's been pressured by Kurt Zouma there, and Zuma's done enough to flick the ball out for a Chelsea throw.
It's again good movement, isn't it, from Havertz? He saw the run. Rudiger saw the run, plays a nice ball, but Havertz is just transitioning from right to left to keep those defenders guessing. Dawson's sort of leaving him alone. It's either Zouma who tracks him or Diop. At the end, both defenders are doing enough, but Havertz is beginning to get more and more space as this half goes on.
Reece James now looking for an option in field. He goes into Loftus-Cheek now, and Loftus-Cheek goes to Ziyech, who finds Alonso on this near side here. He's one-on-one with Soufal. He goes inside to Rudiger. Rudiger now will run at the defence. He'll have an effort himself, but it's headed away by Dawson. It's just bounced off the defender's head. Only as far as Alonso, who finds Jorginho, is pressured by Antonio, but quickly flicks the ball into Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Mason Mount now with an effort from range, and it's sort of a daisy cutter there that wasn't really going to trouble Fabianski, but it was a good effort on target.
Yeah, I think it takes something special to beat Lucas Fabianski. I think he's one of the most underrated goalkeepers in world football. I think he's brilliant, and he gets his body behind it, comfortably takes it. It is going to take something special to beat Fabianski from there, and that wasn't it from Mason Mount.
Lanzini's been dispossessed here, and now Chelsea look to attack with Mount inside the box. There's a dangerous effort, and Jorginho goes for another long-range effort, but it's cleared by Rice, and Ben Johnson gets the second flick away, and it's rebounded off Mason Mount there, so it will roll out for a fortunate West Ham throw inside their own half. Ben Johnson now with the ball in hand, looking to play back underway with this throw-in. He's got an option in Kurt Zouma running short towards him. See David Moyes watching on as Ben Johnson gets a play underway, and Lanzini now plays into Declan Rice. Rice goes back to Craig Dawson. It was a bit of a loose pass there. He's lucky there was no one chasing Dawson down, but Dawson's found Fabianski. Pressured by Havertz there. Quite a high Chelsea press there as Fabianski goes long looking for Johnson, but Lanzini gets there first, and it's a bit of ping-pong in the middle of the park there as plays calmed down by Declan Rice. Goes back to Zouma. Zouma now plays in field towards Souček, and Mount's unlucky to not get a flick on the ball there now as Souček has a bit of grass to run into. He finds Soufal on this right-hand side. Soufal plays a direct ball into Antonio, but Thiago Silva's there first, and Chelsea now turn on the attack, but Dawson does really well there to stop Ziyech in his tracks, and players turned once again towards West Ham, and Lanzini's found Antonio's feet, and Antonio's pass back to Soufal nearly runs out, but the Czech international keeps it in, and Craig Dawson plays into Zouma, back out to Diop. West Ham just spreading the play between their defenders here, looking for an opening on this Chelsea press, but they've had to go all the way back to Fabianski now, and the Polish former international goes long towards Antonio, gets a nice flick on. Lanzini can't latch onto it, and Reece James recovers back to Antonio Rudiger, back to Mendy. Edouard Mendy finds Christensen. An awful back pass from Jorginho, they're back to Mendy. Bowen's there early, and Mendy's taken Bowen down in the box there, and the referee has given a penalty. Andre Mariner has pointed to the spot. That was a horrendous back pass from Jorginho, and That's woeful from Chelsea.
Yeah, it's the second error in a week, isn't it, from Jorginho? He did the same last week, and he's done it again today. It's a really poor pass from him. Mendy, I think, has just got to clear it. He doesn't. He dithers on it, takes a touch, invites Bowen to get there. Bowen nips in, gets his foot ahead of him, and Mendy just clatters into him from behind. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's not one of those where he sighs through him, so it's not going to be anything more than just a penalty, I think. You know, we won't see a booking or a red card. But Jorginho's pass back to his goalkeeper, not for the first time, is woeful, and now this is a massive chance for West Ham to get a really cheap equaliser.
It is, as Edouard Mendy's day is not getting better here, as Manuel Lanzini, the number 10, steps up on the spot, just correcting his laces in his socks. Mariner having a word with Mendy, telling him the rules as if he himself already. Sizing up as Fabianski watches on from his own goal, crouched down. The Argentine now has a chance to equalise for West Ham just before half-time. Mariner has blown his whistle. Lanzini steps up. And it's a fantastic penalty into the top left-hand corner. He's sent Edouard Mendy the wrong way. And Lanzini has got West Ham back into this game now as he runs towards the corner flag to celebrate with Thomas Souček.
Yeah, good finish. Good finish from Lanzini. Sends Mendy the wrong way. It's into that side netting, which is exactly where he wants it to be. But the frustration from Thomas Tuchel will be at how easy it was for West Ham United to win that penalty. A mistake from Jorginho, a really terrible back pass. Just seeing Lanzini's penalty again. And I think even if Mendy goes the right way, he perhaps doesn't get there. It would have been a nice height for the keeper. It's about midway up the post, but it's right into that corner. No chance for the goalkeeper. And West Ham, to be fair, I don't think they've necessarily that they deserve to have been behind in this game, because it's been quite a close-knit affair. So one apiece, I think, is right with 5 to go until the break.
Yeah, as we said, a lack of chances for West Ham to trouble the goal, but when needed, Lanzini has stepped up and got them right back into this game now. 40 minutes played here at the London Stadium in the capital, in this London derby. As Reece James now looks to get Chelsea back on the front foot. He goes back to Christensen, who plays a long ball over the top, looking for Havertz, but Zuma's there first. He'll clear out for a Chelsea throw. Chelsea will desperately want to nick a goal just before half-time and put themselves back in the lead. Tuchel looks a little bit more distressed than he did 5 minutes ago, and we saw him very calm and composed on the bench there, as he looks now quite frustrated and rattled at his team. I think there's another awful mistake from Jorginho, like you said, 2 in 1 week, as Chelsea get the game back underway here. Loftus-Cheek does well to skip past Diop. He found Ziyech just behind the penalty spot. He has an effort, but it's cleared only as far as Havertz. He has another effort, but scrambled, almost found Antonio Rudiger there, who was the furthest man forward, but it's rolled back to Lucas Fabianski. Yeah,
West Ham just need to try and get a little bit of composure here, because what they're doing is they're giving the ball away comfortably. They're allowing Chelsea to run through them. They're then not picking up the men. Granted, when Chelsea are getting into the penalty area, they are putting bodies in the way, but that's only going to get you so far, because Chelsea are a quality outfit. So they have to be careful to West Ham. Perhaps getting through at 1-1 at half-time would be very, very positive for them. The last thing they want to do is invite pressure and allow Chelsea on. Our pictures, independent off-tube studio commentary, were focusing on Edouard Mendy just before that latest Chelsea chance. I think a lot of the negative sort of force will be put towards Mendy for the foul, but as you said, I think it has to be credited more to Jorginho than with Mendy. Mendy played his part. He could have just cleared it away straight away and then didn't need to bundle into Bowen in the way he did. But Jorginho, very similar to what he did in the game against Manchester United, of course, last weekend when he rolled the ball through for Jadon Sancho. He's not looked up. He's done what's automatic. He's thought, you know what, I'll just go back to my goalkeeper and it'll be fine. He hasn't looked around, which for a player that came third in the Ballon d'Or in midweek, you would expect better from him.
As we see another bit of careless defending there from Chelsea, as Christensen goes back to Mendy. He's been harried by Antonio and he's had to kick it out for a throw in there. So the warning signs on this Chelsea defence, which is usually so regimented and strong. They've conceded just 6 league goals this season before this game, but they're looking not quite the team they have done, as Ruben Loftus-Cheek clears only as far as Issa Diop. Declan Rice goes back to Zuma, who heads a long ball forward, and Christensen's met it with another header, a third header from Zuma, as Lanzini looks to dance around this Chelsea midfield, and he's done well to beat Jorginho. He's found Antonio, who's just holding off Christensen. Antonio has gone back to Declan Rice, who spreads the play in front of us here on this near side to Soufal, who's nicked it through to Bowen. Bowen now running infield, being chased by Antonio Rudiger here, and Bowen's now gone back down towards the near side to find Soufal. Soufal, nice back heel there as Bowen and Rudiger get tangled up in the middle of the park away from the play. Zuma now spreads it out to Diop. On the ball there, Souček goes back to Craig Dawson. Now Rice looks to find Dawson again, but Dawson wasn't watching, and now Ruben Loftus-Cheek has nicked the ball away from Souček. Loftus-Cheek plays the ball over the top towards this left-hand side. Ziyech now on the ball. He's got options ahead of him. He goes to switch ball across to Mason Mount, who has a volley here on goal. It's a fantastic finish from Mason Mount. What a beautiful goal there. Mason Mount puts Chelsea ahead just on the brink of half-time. 2-1 Chelsea.
Wow, what a finish. What a finish that was. The ball from Ziyech, it looked like it was a nice crossfield ball, which I think 99 out of 100 players take a touch and then look to deliver it, or take a touch and look to shoot. Mason Mount slows himself down, steps onto it with his instep and volleys it. I don't think he hits it with his laces. I think he just looks to beat the goalkeeper at his near post. It all comes from Declan Rice making a mistake in the middle and then Chelsea breaking quickly. The ball from Loftus-Cheek out to the left didn't look like the best, to be honest. Ziyech had to improvise. But then he takes a couple of touches, fizzes this ball across, and Mount, with his instep, strikes it really cleanly, really well. Fabianski will be really disappointed to be beaten at his near post, but a good finish anyway, and Chelsea ahead. I was saying that West Ham needed to dig in, get to half-time at 1 apiece. They haven't done that. They've invited pressure, and Mason Mount with a wonderful finish has given Chelsea the lead.
Well, a bit of individual brilliance there from Mason Mount has put his team back in the lead. The number 19 finished 19th in the Ballon d'Or. And he's showed his quality today as his so-called best friend Declan Rice watches on and shakes his head. I think he'll be very disappointed with how he's performed there as you see 2 minutes on the clock now of additional time. David Moyes also shaking his head, furious with his team, as he would have loved to have gone into the break drawing this game. It would have been a good result, as we see Ben Johnson now leaving the field. I assume he's taken an injury there, as the game's been back underway by West Ham, and Antonio has gone for a shot from the halfway line from kick-off, and it's just gone over the bar there. It wasn't too far of an effort away from Edouard Mendy, as Mendy was completely off his line on the edge of his box, and Antonio, if it was on target, I think he's got Mendy beat there.
Yeah, he strikes it well. It's always bending away from goal. Not a bad strike, though, as Artur Masuaku looks like the man that's going to come on here for Ben Johnson. That's a concern, is that you mentioned earlier Ben Johnson had been quiet, but so has Reece James, and that's because of what Ben Johnson's been doing. He's just marshalled Reece James, stood on his toes all day. So Masuaku's got to come on and do the same thing now. It's going to be tough for him because Reece James is, for me, the best right-back in the division right now. He's been absolutely superb this season. So Masuaku versus James is going to be a really interesting battle for the second half.
It will be, and may cause concern on Masuaku's defensive prowess, but see how he gets on in this game as Rudiger sends a header forward to Reece James, and now look to play over the top. He's found Kai Havertz in behind here, and Kai Havertz has got a good opportunity on goal here, and Kurt Zuma's done very well there to stop him in his tracks just before he was about to take that shot on. Kurt Zuma looks quite hurt here. I'm not really sure if that's a stud in the leg. I think it might have been, but Kai Havertz almost got the effort away there. It's great defending. Yeah,
it looked like he kind of pulled up as he was running for the ball, actually, so I don't know exactly what's done. Just before he went to ground, he seemed to pull up and almost hold his hamstring. Then he went to ground and made the challenge. It's a really good recovery challenge, but it's Artur Masuaku who's asleep initially because they get in behind him. He's just come off the bench. He's not awake yet, and they've managed to get in behind and have the opportunity. Good recovering from Zuma, but Kai Havertz, I think, will be perhaps disappointed he didn't get a shot off earlier. His touch was a little bit heavy, but it is a good challenge from Zuma, and then Havertz sort of bundles into the side of the goal, really.
I think it seems like Kai Havertz may have hurt his ankle here as he's gone down. He's sort of holding it, and his head was in his shirt there. He seems in quite a bit of discomfort now, so both players down. as you mentioned before, it was a little bit too easy for Chelsea to get in behind there. Arta Masuaku just allowing Kai Havertz that free rein down the right-hand side as both players are receiving treatment now from their respective physios.
I'm not sure whether Azuma goes in for the challenge, whether he lands on the ankle of Havertz, and that's what sort of rolls the ankle of the German. So it will be a sore one. I'm sure that they'll want to keep him on if possible, and then just have a look and assess him at half-time. You don't want to go making a change now if you're not sure. As we see again, Edouard Mendy's challenge on Jared Bowen, which is very clumsy to say the least. It's definitely a goalkeeper that put that tackle in, but then a very good penalty from Lanzini. It's been a really entertaining first half, though. I think both sides have had a go, and Chelsea, I think you'd probably say rightly ahead, I think.
Yeah, I think Chelsea have had the better opportunities, a couple of careless mistakes from either team, but we're not really sure if we'll see much of this half going on now as Kai Havertz is helped to his feet there. He's walking very gingerly on that left ankle. As currently receiving treatment right behind the goal, and that is all. Andre Mariner has blown his whistle for half-time. It is 2-1 Chelsea at the London Stadium, and join us after the break for second half commentary.
Half-time at the London Stadium. It's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, as the Blues showing their little bits of quality in the final third in what's been a really tight contest between these two. Chelsea took the lead just before the half-hour mark. Thiago Silva rising from a corner, beating Marcos Antonio. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes, Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot, Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short. He bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes, Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot, Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short. He bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes, Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot, Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short. He bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes, Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot, Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short. He bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2 in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Chelsea 2, in a really entertaining half between these two, with just a couple of moments of quality separating them. The first goal went in on 29 minutes. Thiago Silva beating Michail Antonio from a corner and powering his header down into the floor via Lucas Fabianski's hand and into the back of the net. West Ham then scored from the penalty spot. Manuel Lanzini, after Jorginho's back pass sold Edouard Mendy short, he bundled into Bowen, and Lanzini made no mistake from the spot. Then Mason Mount's volley from a Ziyech cross gives Chelsea the lead. Well, it's a very warm welcome back to this independent, unofficial off-tube studio-based coverage of the Premier League this afternoon. West Ham 1, Chelsea 2. A really entertaining opening 45 between these two. Thiago Silva was the man who opened the scoring. Manuel Lanzini then scored from the penalty spot after a mix-up between Jorginho and Edouard Mendy before Mason Mount's perfect volley at the end of the second half gave the Blues the lead. And the Blues have had to make a substitution at half-time. Romelu Lukaku has come on for Kai Havertz, who picked up an injury with more or less the last kick of the game. The game has got back underway at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea were in possession. Mason Mount, though, has gone down, and Arthur Masuaku will pick up possession before finding Issa Diop and back to Kurt Zouma. So the two team lineups look like this. For West Ham, it's Lucas Fabianski in goal. A back three of Craig Dawson, Kurt Zouma and Issa Diop, with Vladimir Soufal, Thomas Souček, Declan Rice and Arthur Masuaku across the middle. Masuaku came on for Ben Johnson, who got injured just before the break. Jared Bowen and Manuel Lanzini are then in behind Michail Antonio. For Chelsea, it's Edouard Mendy in goal, Andreas Christensen, Thiago Silva and Antonio. As Masuaku tries to get forward himself, finding Michail Antonio. Little ball round the corner for Thomas Souček, who's tried to maraud forward. He's gone down under a challenge from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The offside flag was up, though, on the far side, so it will be a free kick for Chelsea. Just seeing a replay, Souček almost certainly offside from the replay we have seen. It's myself, Jack Deaton, alongside Harry Jones for this second half. And Harry, I suppose in the first half, Chelsea did have the better of the game, so went in ahead. But we certainly can't rule West Ham out, because they've definitely given a go. And when they've gone forward, they've flirted with a few dangers.
Yeah, they have, and I think we're going to see them essentially go for it, because they're going to want points from this game. So we could see them playing a little bit more attacking, maybe opening the game up a little bit more, which in turn could work in their favour, or it could unleash a certain striker up front that Chelsea now have on the pitch. Romelu Lukaku is now back from injury, and he's not the sort of player that you want to unleash by opening yourself up a little bit too much. We know he's an absolute killer in front of goal, and he'll do anything he can to put the ball in the back of the net. And West Ham have got to be careful of his danger up front. They've got to make sure that they, while do try and get back into this game, they can contain him.
It's not a bad substitution, is it? Romelu Lukaku
No.
bringing on. Thomas Tuchel has had a raft of players in his squad to pick from. He's actually, up to today, made 54 changes to his starting 11s so far this season. That is in just 15 matches. So it really tells you just how usable the entire squad is for Chelsea. Even today, the likes of Mateo Kovacic and N'Golo Kante, as well as Ben Chilwell, Trevor Chalobah, all out injured, players who've been first-team players for the vast majority of the season. They're all out, and they've still lined up with a very, very strong side of Chelsea today. It shows the strength in depth that Thomas Tuchel has got. As Chelsea have got a free kick here, midway inside their own half. Thiago Silva, the man to take it, the man who got the goals going this afternoon. He finds Jorginho into Andreas Christensen. Now Reece James on the right-hand side. He finds Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who carries it over halfway. He's got options to his left in Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech will now find Marcus Alonso midway inside the West Ham half. Now level with the edge of the 18-yard box. He plays it down the line to Ziyech. On the edge of the box, the attempted cross in from the Moroccan is blocked by Craig Dawson, and it will be a corner for the Blues.
Yeah, they're enjoying a lot of the ball down this left-hand side. Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech looked very lively today. Obviously, got the assist for Mason Mount's goal just on the stroke of half-time, and he's been troublesome on that left-hand side, and he's got into a good area. But it was a good block from Craig Dawson there to put the ball out of play.
Ziyech should take the corner, left-footed out, swinging, dangerous ball in, looking for Jorginho, I think was the intended target. It's bobbled off a couple of West Ham bodies and gone behind for a corner. Jorginho, probably the smallest Chelsea player on the pitch, was the man causing problems. It hit Issa Diop on the hip and went behind for another corner. In fact, it actually comes off the head of Jorginho, but a corner was given nonetheless. Ziyech, the man over it, again left-footed out swing in their 6th corner of the afternoon. Dangerous ball in from Ziyech, flicked on and away by Craig Dawson, then helped on its way by the West Ham goalscorer, Manuel Lanzini, as Andreas Christensen tries to loft a ball back into the penalty area. It's dealt with by Vladimir Soufal, who brings it down on his chest and clears. And then Andreas Christensen in turn clears it for Chelsea. Ball just pinballing about between players, and then Michail Antonio will carry it away, tries to find Jared Bowen, who was sort of waiting, trying to hold his line. He didn't want to be caught offside, but in the end, he did get caught offside. It was good defending from Loftus-Cheek.
No, it was really good. I think Antonio just held onto the ball a little bit too long there. You see him running, he was waiting for Bowen to stay onside, and then Bowen just dropped onside, and that's when the ball should have been played, but I think Antonio wasn't quite expecting that, so by the time he did play the ball, Bowen wasn't in offside position, but Ruben Loftus-Cheek does really well to read that, and he sprints back and gets in the way, luckily, for Chelsea.
Yeah, probably the sort of situation where he could have just gone alone there, Michail Antonio, and tried to draw his man out. Instead, he looked for the pass as Thiago Silva looks for Romelu Lukaku, the ball way over his head. And now Kurt Zouma into Vladimir Soufal, down the line for Jared Bowen. Nice turn from him into Thomas Souček. Souček looking to turn away, but he's challenged quickly by Jorginho. He's been relatively quiet today, Thomas Souček. Not seen much of him in the middle of the park. Equally, Declan Rice, who was pretty important to his side in the opening 15 minutes. We've not seen much of him since then either, because it's been Chelsea who've been dominating the play in the centre of the park. Here's Issa Diop on the left, though, for the Hammers. Into Arthur Masuaku. Masuaku under pressure from Reece James. Very nearly gets caught on it. Does well to just about deal with the pressure from both James and Mason Mount. And now Kurt Zouma plays an inadvertent 1-2 with Arthur Masuaku. Sort of cannoned it off his shin. And now Craig Dawson can bring it forward for the Hammers on the right-hand side into Vladimir Soufal. Soufal back to Dawson, and now back to Fabianski. And it's important for West Ham to get a foothold in the game and that they try and maintain possession when they can, just to almost give them a breather and allow them to dictate the play.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go. They can still get back into this game, and they won't want to rush it and throw everyone forward. And because, like I said earlier, Chelsea do have that firepower in attack that they can catch them on the break, and they're so dangerous. And West Ham want to just work it, like you said, quite slowly, just maybe regain some of the possession for the next 10 or 15 minutes, just work out a game plan and then attack when needs be.
Just a reminder, there is a host of Premier League games actually The rest of today, there's 3 o'clock kickoffs. Newcastle host Burnley, a massive game down and around the bottom of the Premier League. It's a South Coast derby between Southampton and Brighton, and Wolves host what looks like an unstoppable Liverpool side. Those 3 kick off at 3, and then the late kick off at 5:30 sees Watford host Manchester City. All 4 of those games are available on this service this afternoon, as Jorginho inside the centre circle finds Andreas Christensen, who takes it over halfway just to the right of centre. A nice ball down the line into Mason Mount, tries to flick it round a corner for Loftus-Cheek, who does well to get away from Diop. Loftus-Cheek in the area, looks to pull it back. Declan Rice, though, well placed, will intercept and then breezes away. Initially from Hakim Ziyech, looked like he was fouled by Ziyech. He then got dispossessed by Reece James before Mendy steps in and clears the ball away long for Kurt Zouma to help onto Fabianski. And Declan Rice there doing what we've not seen him do yet today, which is pick the ball up and try and drive at that Chelsea defence. We said right at the beginning of the game that he is very, very important to his side, who at the moment aren't utilising him really because Chelsea aren't letting them.
No, they've kept him very quiet, but we see Rice do that so much when he gets the ball in his own half and just drives into the opposition's half. But unfortunately for him, he was met by one of the strongest players in the league, Reece James, who wasn't going to let him pass without a fight. And Reece James does well to get a shoulder in ahead of Declan Rice and just put him off balance, and it was enough in the end. But that was a dangerous attack because Mikel Antonio was there in support with him as well, so it could have amounted to something. Antonio
does really well actually on the right to open up the play and fizz a ball across from left to right, but Chelsea have won it back, and Rudiger is bursting forward here from the back. He's got Ziyech to his left-hand side. That's where he plays it. Ziyech then, on the stretch, scoops the ball a long way over the crossbar. An apologetic hand in the air from Antonio Rudiger, but it was a great burst forward from the German defender. Had options right and left. Ziyech was probably the right one, but he probably took too long to play it.
Yeah, Mason Mount was there on the right-hand side, but I'm not sure if he would have been able to find him with the Clara Blue bodies in the way. But I think he may have held on to it just a fraction too early, and then when he did play the ball, it wasn't the best for Ziyech to just hit first time. So it led Ziyech to sky it over the crossbar, but it was another good opportunity. And like I said, dangerous when Chelsea get on the counter attack. When they nick the ball off West Ham in the middle of the park, they can really hit them and hurt them.
Here is Lanzini inside that middle third. He finds Antonio, and now Souček looking for Antonio again. Good header from Thiago Silva, brought down though just inside the area by Soufal. Then the shot from Bowen beats Mendy, and West Ham United have an equaliser out of absolutely nothing. Soufal battled away, stabbed it through for Bowen, who struck it early, caught Mendy off guard and levels things up. West Ham 2, Chelsea 2.
Well, that's a fantastic finish from Jarrod Bowen there with the instep of his left foot. Edouard Mendy was diving as much as he could and he couldn't get there. He completely beating the goalkeeper. He's hit it with such venom and power. You see the Chelsea players baffled as to where that chance has come from, but it's great play on the right-hand side from Souček and Soufal as we just see a replay. Once again, Antonio linking up all of the play. On the right-hand side, Souček with a lovely ball over the top, and Thiago Silva initially does well, but it's awful for Marcos Alonso to allow Soufal to just push him off the ball. There's just no attempt of a tackle there, and Soufal just nicks the ball into Bowen's feet there. He's done enough, and he's beaten Thiago Silva and Rudiger in doing so, and the ball has just slid through Christensen's legs from Jarrod Bowen, and he's just hit that with so much power. There's nothing Mendy can do. It's a great chance, and now, like we said, West Ham are straight back into this game, and maybe against the run of play, but they've been fantastic in the second half, and they've got the goal.
Yeah, a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes, shall we say, from Chelsea at the back. As you said, Harry, whether the defenders stepped out, whether they actually put the challenge in, whatever it was, Chelsea didn't do enough, and West Ham have punished them. 57 minutes on the clock. West Ham United 2, Chelsea 2 in this independent off-tube studio-based commentary. As Chelsea try and come forward and react immediately. Marcos Alonso with an attempted ball into the box, blocked by Vladimir Soufal. So it will be a Chelsea throw-in level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Do not go anywhere. This is a real cracker of a London derby. Chelsea top of the league going into this game. West Ham fourth in the Premier League. And there could still be changes in those positions depending on the result this afternoon as Reece James tries to get away from Arthur Masuaku. Forced backwards to Jorginho, who plays a lovely ball into Mason Mount, who's in behind Masuaku, pulls it across, and it just evades Marcos Alonso. Hakim Ziyech will keep it in play by the far corner flag. On his left foot, up against Declan Rice. He's forced backwards at the moment. West Ham doing enough just to keep Romelu Lukaku on a really short leash that prevented him from getting any sort of space in that penalty area as Mason Mount has it again on this right-hand side up against Masuaku. Reece James with a ball in. Lukaku trying to get there. Dawson does just about enough, almost crawling on all fours there, Craig Dawson, to make sure the ball went through to Fabianski, who reacted well. But there, just a little sniff of what Romelu Lukaku can do in the box.
Yeah, it's a fantastic reply from Chelsea. They've got straight back on the front foot after going a goal down, but just that chance before where Mason Mount tries to find Marcos Alonso, and I think he could have gone himself there if he went for goal. He could have snuck it in at the near post because he was in a great position. But like I said, it's great play from Chelsea, and we saw them do it against Watford after they went a goal down. They got straight back on the front foot, and they wanted to get a goal back, and they're doing the same here. They've gone a goal down, and maybe unlucky, but they're now playing out their skin to try and get a goal back here. Mason Mount looks really dangerous down the right-hand side.
Yeah, he does. He's causing Arthur Masuaku all sorts of problems as Masuaku finds Mikhail Antonio here, twisting and turning under pressure from Andreas Christensen. He goes backwards to Issa Diop, who fizzes the ball forward into the left-hand channel to Jared Bowen, who's fouled by Thiago Silva. And this all of a sudden, having felt for the majority of the game like it would be a game that Chelsea would win, the balance of probabilities has levelled up a little bit because it feels all of a sudden like a game that could go either way.
Yeah, it's completely opened up. Like I said earlier, West Ham weren't going to sit back and just concede the goals to Chelsea, and they've got right back into this game, and it's paid off them going on the front foot, and they've thrown everything at Chelsea, and it's paid off because they've got their goal back. But in doing so, we're seeing the game really open up, and Chelsea having a few good opportunities themselves.
Lanzini with a free kick into the box. Craig Dawson nods it up in the air. Edouard Mendy just about gets there at the second time of asking. Kurt Zuma it was challenging for it at the near post after Dawson's nod back across goal. And Mendy sort of almost palmed it down in front of him, and then with Thomas Souček threatening inside the 6-yard box, Mendy had to go to ground and get there. A couple of nervy moments from Edouard Mendy as Mason Mount finds Jorginho just to the right of the centre circle. He plays the ball from right to left for Ziyech. Now Marcos Alonso as Hakim Ziyech makes an overlapping run. Now Rudiger into Thiago Silva. Inside the centre circle, he finds Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who tries to get the toe down and gets at Thomas Souček. Lovely flick to find Ziyech on the left-hand edge of the box. Ziyech drills it across, blocked by the hip of Kurt Zuma. And then Jared Bowen does really well to get back and win it before Declan Rice tries to just caress a ball down the line from Mikhail Antonio, who lost his footing as he tried to beat Thiago Silva in a foot race. Here's Reece James, 30 yards out. Stabs it out to Mason Mount, who flashes it across goal. Zuma puts it behind, and it's a really open tie at the London Stadium.
Yeah, Zuma does really well there because Lukaku was definitely closing in on that effort. Reece James does well to find Mount, and Mount just drills the ball across the box once again in that corridor of uncertainty, just in that area where the goalkeeper doesn't know whether to come for it. Lukaku was certainly waiting for it, but Zuma does enough to just poke out for a corner. Yeah,
Mount over it, right-footed out, swinging from this near side as we see it. Independent Off-Tube Studio-based commentary as Mount lofts it in, headed away and well away by Zuma. Ziyech helps it back in, but Declan Rice nods the second ball clear, and Andreas Christensen has to go all the way back to his goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy. A real credit to West Ham that from a Chelsea corner, they managed to get the ball all the way back to the Chelsea keeper. As the Blues come once again, Loftus-Cheek out to Mason Mount on this right-hand side. Now Jorginho, back to Mount. Into Reece James. Jorginho, dead centre of the West Ham half, opens his body up. He's got James to his right. That's where he plays it. James now to Mason Mount. Trying to get at Arthur Masuaku once again. It's a battle at the moment that Mason Mount is winning as Masuaku nods away Ruben Loftus-Cheek's dink down the line. And now Mount will try and open up once again. Finding James into Jorginho. Ziyech is to the left of him, but the Italian instead favours the right. And James, now Mount. Good possession this from Chelsea as they look to try and build something inside the West Ham danger zone. In the end, Loftus-Cheek is just bundled over by Michail Antonio, who just really runs into him and knocks him to the floor, and a Chelsea free kick in a dangerous area.
Yeah, it was clumsy there from Michail Antonio because it's, like you said, it is in a dangerous area as we see Callum Hudson-Odoi getting ready to come onto the field. But yeah, another good opportunity for Chelsea here. Antonio, not really sure why he puts Reece James on the floor there, as he wasn't directly running towards goal, but it was in a dangerous position. So he's just tried to nick the ball away from him, but he's gone in with his strength, and ultimately he's not touched the ball at all, and Reece James has ended up on the floor.
James over the free kick then. It's maybe 35 yards out in a crossing position. James lofts it high, hanging towards the back post, but it's way overhit, and in the end goes behind for a goal kick. The West Ham defensive line for that free kick was lined up along the edge of the 18-yard box, so it made it very difficult for them to create anything at all. In the end, James has just overhit the free kick.
Yeah, there was no one really waiting to latch on.
To happen. So as Harry alluded to, Callum Hudson-Odoi is the man coming on. Hakim Ziyech is the player going off, and Ziyech, who obviously got an assist for the second goal, looked bright throughout the first half, but hasn't really got going in this second period.
Yeah, in the first half he was fantastic. Obviously getting the goal for Mason Mount's fantastic finish. It was a great ball over the top to find him, but he's just struggled to get into this game in the second half. I think a lot of the action's been down the right hand side, which has sort of left him quite obsolete on that left. So the change is probably one that needed to happen if Chelsea are going to create more chances and get back into this game.
64 minutes on the clock, West Ham 2, Chelsea 2, as Masuaku tries to break down the left-hand side, looking to thread a pass through for Jared Bowen, who almost puts his hands on his head because he knew that ball was the right one to play, as Ruben Loftus-Cheek does well and finds Romelu Lukaku. Not seen much of the Belgian since he came on. He's one-on-one here with Kurt Zuma, who did well just to hold him up. Mason Mount then takes over, whipping a ball towards the back post. Marcus Alonso, the intended target, but Declan Rice did really well to get there, and then Jared Bowen will clear into Michail Antonio, who is caught there by Reece James. The referee says fairly, so James will instead continue with the ball, finding Jorginho in the centre circle. Jorginho into Andreas Christensen. Now Reece James, midway inside the West Ham half, finding Romelu Lukaku into Mason Mount. Back to James once again. Infield is Loftus-Cheek, and then still as the pivot in that Chelsea midfield, Jorginho in possession, dead centre, about 15 yards inside the West Ham half. The ball now out with James on the right-hand side as Chelsea continue to try and build something. Lukaku with a 1-2 with Mount, and now Hudson-Odoi, first touch for him inside the penalty area, finding Mount, who looked to again just caress a ball through for Marcus Alonso. It was dealt with by West Ham, who are sitting further and further back. They're just inviting Chelsea onto them at the moment.
Yeah, they are, and when they do get the ball in clear, Michail Antonio has got some work to do, because every time he's trying to hold the ball up, he's getting just bundled by Chelsea bodies because half of his team are still in their own half.
Yeah, as Hudson-Odoi gets into the area, finds Mount with a shot that's comfortable in the end for Fabianski. Good move that from Chelsea. Hudson-Odoi it was, who just got a little bit of space, found Mount, who had even more space, but in the end the shot was relatively tame and easy for Fabianski to deal with.
Yeah, he didn't trouble Fabianski from there. The shot didn't have as much zip on it that he probably would have liked to.
As Michail Antonio tries to battle away there with Andreas Christensen. The ball goes out of play for a Chelsea throw-in. Not quite been Michail Antonio's afternoon so far, but he's a player that only needs one chance. The sort of success story of the football, or one of the success stories of the footballing pyramid. Not long ago, he was playing non-league football, scoring sort of 40 or 50 goals a season before coming up to the Football League and playing as a winger for a spell, including at Sheffield Wednesday, and then at West Ham. When he joined originally, he was a right back. Now a centre forward, and one of the most threatening centre forwards in the Premier League. As I mentioned earlier, though, just one goal in his last 8 Premier League games. Chelsea 54% possession so far in this second half. That's in comparison to 68% in the first. So West Ham have certainly given it a better go in terms of ball retention in this second period, as Reece James looks to play the ball in field for Romelu Lukaku. The pass intercepted by Declan Rice once again as Masuaku gives away possession to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's held by Thomas Souček. And Chelsea get things going quickly with a free kick from right to left for Antonio Rudiger, who's got Marcos Alonso on the left-hand side. Instead, looks to fizz it through for Romelu Lukaku. And Kurt Zouma's got a problem here. And Kurt Zouma, I think it's... You would hope that it's cramp here for Kurt Zouma, but he's holding the back of his leg. And as he tried to break away, I did mention earlier on that it looked like he twinged something in the same incident that saw Kai Havertz get injured. But there, as Zouma goes to push away, he pulls up, and that is not a good sign. Under no pressure, no one really around him, and that will be a worry for West Ham United.
Yeah, it looks like he's done some serious damage there. It looks like a pull maybe in the hamstring. That's what happens when you're chasing a striker with fresh legs. Romelu Lukaku comes on at half-time, and he's got that power and pace. He's got to keep up with him, and he's just pushed himself a little bit too far there, and it looks quite nasty. You see the physios are now attending to him, and he looks like he's in quite some discomfort. Yeah,
he did hobble off the pitch, actually, did Kurt Zouma, so inadvertently the game will still be able to go on. He's just getting his knee almost flexed to 90 degrees, and he was wincing in pain. As we just see a replay of the West Ham United goal, the really nice finish from Bowen past Mendy and into the back of the net, that at the moment has brought West Ham United level. We are over the three-quarter mark in this game, actually. 68.5 minutes on the clock. West Ham United 2, Chelsea 2 in this independent off-tube studio-based commentary. And it'll be Harry Jones to take us through to full-time and hopefully a few more goals, Harry.
Hopefully, yes, as we see Kurt Zouma now leaving the field, and it looks like Pablo Fornals will be the man to replace him as he comes off the bench. So maybe West Ham going for more of an attacking outfit to maybe get back into this game and take a lead after the equaliser from Jarrod Bowen on the stroke of the 56th minute as Masuaku takes the throw in. He finds Antonio, goes back to Artur Masuaku, plays the ball into the box, but once again Antonio was not there as he was the man playing in the ball, so Mendy will regain possession, and now Chelsea look to break with Marcos Alonso. He's done well to skip past Jarrod Bowen, and Bowen's just stuck a leg into the side of Marcos Alonso to stop him in his tracks there, and Andre Mariner's blown his whistle, and that will be a free kick.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much there was in the challenge, to be honest. As Kurt Zouma continues to make his way around the pitch, he looks in some discomfort there. I think he was trying to jog there and pulled up, and he won't come on and play any further part, surely, as Reece James's attempted ball in is blocked by Masuaku and will be a corner for the Blues.
Chelsea will have another dangerous corner now, another attempt to get the ball into the boxes. Pablo Fornals is having his last few words from the tactical team at West Ham as he's gearing to come onto the pitch. He may be able to come on just before this corner's taken. I think he will be, as Kurt Zouma now limps off, so we hope that's not too serious, and Pablo Fornals will now come on, I'm guessing in the centre of the park, to replace him. Give West Ham some more firepower up front and maybe take a lead in this contest. 70 minutes gone at the London Stadium. Chelsea have a corner now. It'll be the outswinger from Mason Mount. He swings the ball into the box, looking for Thiago Silva, but it's beaten everyone, and falling to Jarrod Bowen, who's one-on-one with his opposite number, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Hudson-Odoi gets the better of him now, and Jarrod Bowen puts another challenge in on Callum Hudson-Odoi. That's the second foul he's given away in short succession. Chelsea will now have a free kick as the West Ham players are complaining against the decision. Challenge comes in, yeah, Bowen just clips Callum Hudson-Odoi and doesn't make any contact with the ball, so I'm not really sure where the complaints are coming from there, as Reece James looks to take the free kick. Sorry, it's in sort of a similar position to a corner. Chelsea looking to once again take the lead in this game. They've got a lot of firepower in the box. Romelu Lukaku, Thiago Silva, the goal scorer. As Reece James floats the ball in, looking for Lukaku, but Souček's there first, and now Rice looks to clear as far as the new substitute Fornals. Lanzini's set Fornals on his way, hoping to make an instant impact, as Mount does really well to track back there and chase down Pablo Fornals and flick the ball out for a throw-in. Does really well. He's tenacious there from Mason Mount, as Christian Pulisic now looks to come on to replace Marcos Alonso on that left-hand side. So another change for Chelsea in this game. That will be their third of the game. Christian Pulisic, the American international, to make an impact for Chelsea as Alonso comes off. He's had an okay game, Marcos Alonso, a little bit quiet. He's linked up well down the left-hand side with Ziyech, but now they've both left the field. West Ham get back underway with Southampton, who goes long. Looks to find Mikel Antonio, but Thiago Silva's there first, and it's an easy ball into Rudiger, who's got his arms pointed downwards in order to screen to his teammates, make him an option. But Christensen now finds Ruben Loftus-Cheek, cuts inside, but it's a good tackle there from Souček. Looks to pressurise Christensen, who goes long, but the linesman has flagged, saying the ball had already gone out by the time it came back into field. So West Ham will get a throw in down their touchline, just in front of the technical area. He's being shown all the way to the halfway line to show where it officially did leave the field. David Moyes whispers in Masuaku's ear, giving him some tips from the sideline. Masuaku gets play back underway, throws in towards Antonio. Christensen heads clear once again. Another West Ham throw, just edging their way up the touchline.
They're trying, aren't they, Chelsea? But they're really struggling to break down West Ham. It's interesting bringing Fornals on for Zuma. Granted, when you look at the West Ham United bench, they don't have another centre back on there. But Chelsea's real kryptonite this season has been playing against four at the back. The 9 points that they've dropped this season have come against teams that play with a back four. And I think that this plays right into West Ham hands. The fact that they've gone into a four, I think will help to nullify Chelsea even more, because it just brings more people into the middle. They've almost gone into a 4-4-1-1, if you want to call it that, or like a 4. They've got Souček sat in front of the back four. Rice is more central. Lanzini is sort of going from supporting Antonio to sitting in the middle. So it's a really interesting little change of shape, this, from David Moyes. It'd be interesting to see how tactically astute it is come the final whistle.
Yes. Antonio does really well there to get the strength on Callum Hudson-Odoi, and the ball across the box is just floated towards Jarrod Bowen, who's completely unmarked at the back post, and he's just knocked it wide there. Great opportunity from West Ham to come out of absolutely nothing. Yeah,
what an opportunity that is. It's Bowen who actually starts the move, finding Fornals. Good ball from him into Antonio, who does everything right. It's a teasing ball across the edge of the 6-yard box. Bowen is the man who's trying to get there. He's full stretch. He does get a toe to it, but it is just wide of Edouard Mendy's right-hand post. It's a big opportunity, that, really. Since the second West Ham goal, we've not seen many chances in this game. That's a big one. Will it come back to haunt them?
Rudiger now looks to take the ball away from Bowen. Bowen does really well to flick it over his head nicely, and Hudson-Odoi will put him under pressure here, as Bowen's now got two players in the back of him there, and Rudiger will take him to ground, and the linesman has waved his flag high in the air to approve of the foul there, as Bowen does really well to skip past the Chelsea player. There's not much in it there, actually. I've seen the second replay. It's gone down holding his ankle, but I think Bowen will be very fortunate there to win his team a free kick.
I don't think he touched him.
No.
I don't think he touched him. There's almost no contact whatsoever. Jarrod Bowen is a good one, though, at playing the game. He's very good at winning free kicks. He's very good at the should we say, sportsmanship bits. And he did well there to win his side a free kick that he's then not delivered very well.
Bowen now goes back to Soufal, who finds Bowen again. Bowen looks to lift another ball into the box to find Thomas Souček, but Edouard Mendy gets up and gets there first and claims the ball there. Looks to slow the play down and roll out to Rudiger. Rudiger likes to set Chelsea on the attack. They want to take all 3 points in here. They've got a relatively kind fixture list, facing Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton before the end of the month, Chelsea, so good chance to pick up points. Yet in the new year they do face Liverpool and Man City, so two massive tests at the top of the table, as they look to break here with Callum Hudson-Odoi. Cuts in on his right foot, goes back to Rudiger. Rudiger finds Ruben Loftus-Cheek into Jorginho, back to Rudiger. Chelsea struggling to break down this regimented West Ham defence here. Loftus-Cheek looks to break past Souček. He floats the ball in towards the box, but no one's there, and Callum Hudson-Odoi meets it at the far side. Hudson-Odoi now plays the ball all the way back to Jorginho, who has an effort on goal, but it's blocked there from Issa Diop, and it's saved by Fabianski and pushed just wide of the post.
Yeah, it was a bit of a nothing chance, really, from Jorginho. Just stepped onto it with his instep. It's dangerous. Fabianski doesn't get anywhere near it, but Diop, I think it is, who gets the little bit of a toe to divert it away from goal. But yeah, good opportunity that from Jorginho, and now a chance from this set piece.
Mason Mount will look to float the ball into the box there with his right foot as he does so. He looks for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who has a good head on goal, and it's cleared there by Thomas Souček, just dangerously flirting with this West Ham goal as Antonio heads once again, and Christensen looks to get it back into the box, but there's a man down in the box, so I think play will stop here. Andre Mariner has blown his whistle. Not sure why Jorginho's carried on as the whistle has been blown. It's Vladimir Soufal now who's down holding his sort of face, but I don't think it's a facial issue, but he's still on the floor, but he seems to have got up now, so maybe a little bit of trickery from the West Ham right back there, because I'm not sure what the initial issue was.
Yeah, I honestly, I have no idea. He didn't seem to be involved when the initial ball came into the penalty area, and yeah, I'm not quite sure. He seems okay now. I'm sure Chelsea will be relatively unhappy, but obviously with the new way they do the drop ball rule is that it'll just go back to Chelsea and they'll, hold possession straight away. So an opportunity for them to start again, but they'll be unhappy that the momentum of that last move was completely... Rudiger and Soufal are having words now at the top of our screen, independent, unofficial off-tube studio-based coverage. So it was obviously between those two, whatever contact there was. There's a smile on Rudiger's face, not really one on Soufal's.
The ball has now been dropped to Reece James by Andre Mariner, who will look to get Chelsea back underway with possession. And Thiago Silva just on the halfway line, bursting into this West Ham area. And now he's played a nice 1-2 with Christian Pulisic. Thiago Silva's still going, and now Callum Hudson-Odoi will lift the ball into the box, and it's not a great one because there's no one on the end of it, but Thiago Silva once again up in the West Ham box, just attacking with everything he's got now, but the ball's floated back to Rudiger, who's found Jorginho. Jorginho will now have a go at pressing into this West Ham line. He finds Hudson-Odoi, who's got Pulisic ahead of him. He's given it to him, and Pulisic looked for Lukaku, but it's a good block by Souček, and Jarrod Bowen will now clear only as far once again as Thiago Silva. It seems like West Ham are defending with everything they've got right now. There's not much going forward for them, but Chelsea will look to break the deadlock here and nick a goal with Jorginho now out wide to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's got Pulisic ahead of him. He goes back on his right foot to Jorginho. Jorginho into Lukaku's feet. Lukaku into Mason Mount. He's played the ball out wide to Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's a nice play here from Chelsea. He's gone back to Loftus-Cheek. Now Mason Mount in the box, and Vladimir Soufal's done really well there to get ahead of Mount and get his body in the way. And now referee has waved play on and said Rudiger has played the ball into the box looking for Lukaku, and the head's just not great from Lukaku. It's gone up and over, and now it's gone out wide for a goal kick.
It was risky defending, from Soufal, doing what he did there, because Mason Mount turns really, really well. It's smart, intelligent play from Mount. And Soufal steps across, then throws himself across, hoping for a free kick. There was no contact from Mason Mount whatsoever, so play went on. It was good refereeing from Andre Mariner not to be sort of conned into that. But if that had ended in a goal, Soufal would have looked a bit stupid for the fact that he's dived across and, inadvertently caused his side a problem. Incidentally, Chelsea have scored 8 goals in the last 15 minutes of matches this season in the Premier League. So this is danger time, this, for Chelsea. This is when they begin to really push on in games and score 2 goals, to kill a game off, and they'll be looking to try and do that again here.
Yeah, this is Tommy Tuchel time, as they may say, but Ruben Loftus-Cheek has found Callum Hudson-Odoi out wide. He's tried to drift it into Lukaku, but it's blocked by Rice. Hudson-Odoi will run and retrieve it now to restart another attack. Rudiger now into Jorginho in the middle of the park. He's pressured by Lanzini, but still regains possession. Jorginho. Rudiger now. Not many movement from the Chelsea attack here as he goes into Pulisic. Pulisic plays a nice 1-2 with Lukaku, but Pulisic just loses the ball underneath his feet, and now West Ham will look to break. Bowen tries to skip past Rudiger, who's slid in there and put a good challenge in to halt that West Ham attack.
This is the difference, though. We've seen Romelu Lukaku come in, and he's such a different player to Kai Havertz. Havertz's movement, we were saying it in the first half, Havertz's movement is great inside the penalty area. Lukaku stands dead central between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box and waits. And he just hopes that the ball comes towards him. We've seen a couple of times that he's gone into that area, then dropped back to the penalty spot, and they've tried to find him. But his movement is so different, And I think Chelsea are struggling at the moment to get him into the game. You know, he's not touching the ball. He's not getting involved in the penalty area whatsoever. So I think a little bit more needs to be done to try and involve him, or he needs to adjust his runs, because so far it's not working.
Yeah, as Reece James floats the ball across to switch it over to Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think not intentional, but it's come off as Loftus-Cheek has the ball on the edge of the box. He played a nice direct ball into Mount's feet, and Masuaku just gets there first and nicks the ball away from Mason Mount, but he's claiming that the last touch was off the Englishman, and I think it was, so we will be in order for a West Ham goal kick there. Actually, I think he's been quite lucky there, Masuaku, as contact from Mount must have been very minimal if he's seen any at all, as Said Benrahma now the next man to enter the field for the Hammers. Gearing up to come on. He's formed a prolific partnership up front with Mikel Antonio so far this season. Hasn't quite produced the numbers as of late, but still a great player to have at David Moyes' disposal. As the goal kick comes in now, and Fornals has tried to skip away from Christensen and have done really well here, West Ham, and now Jarrod Bowen will look to break down this left-hand side. He's not got much in support, but he goes himself. Tries to flick the ball into the box, but Thiago Silva's got there first, and it's ricocheted off Thiago Silva to then hit Bowen. Unfortunately out for a Chelsea goal kick.
He did well initially, did Bowen, actually. Did well to open up the space, but he got doubled up on. Christensen and Silva over there marshalling, and you're really going to struggle to create anything at all. And in the end, it does sort of bounce off the defenders and then back onto Bowen, so it was the right decision from the official. Benrahma still hasn't come on, incidentally, so we're still waiting to find out what that change is going to be.
They are, as now Soufal bustles Hudson-Odoi off the ball here, and Soufal looks to lift the ball into the box, but Hudson-Odoi does enough to get in the way, and Thiago Silva now clears for a West Ham throw on the far side. 83 minutes gone, still tied at 2-2 here at the London Stadium. Soufal throws the ball down the line, looking for Antonio, but it's very lacklustre from him, and Chelsea now regain possession, but they clear the ball up the field, and it will roll out for another West Ham throw, as Benrahma getting a few last instructions from David Moyes himself now as to what the game plan is and where to go and what to do, as now finally Benrahma will enter the field, and it's Manuel Lanzini he will replace. In order, he'll only get 6 or so minutes left in this game, but will it be enough for him to make a difference for this West Ham side? Lanzini goes off, the goal scorer of that fantastic penalty early in the first half. He'll leave the field now as West Ham desperately try and nick a goal in this game and get the 3 points.
Yeah, well, Benrahma's going on with a note in his hand here, so it'll be interesting to see who he runs straight up to for further instructions. My bets are he goes up to the back line and, you know, they discuss changing something. He's gone straight up to, just seeing him now run on. He's literally got a sheet of paper in his hand. It's Declan Rice that he's walked up to. So potentially just a little tweak here for West Ham, because they need to be careful. They don't want to go forward and try and push too much for a winner and then get caught, as Bowen does really well in the box, but his floated ball is overhit and it will be a goal kick. I think if you're West Ham at the moment, though, you probably feel like you're right to go and push for this game because Chelsea are there for the taking, but you also don't want to push and risk getting caught on the counter. It seems like it's a little bit of a change of shape in the middle, I think, is what Declan Rice was inferring there as he was talking to Pablo Fornals. Potentially into sort of a 4-3-3 is what they're going to.
Yeah, as Jorginho now gets the play back underway in the middle of the park, he finds Loftus-Cheek. Goes back to Jorginho, and Jorginho plays a direct ball into Lukaku's feet, who just holds off Dawson, but Souček does really well to nick the ball off him and just let it float back to his goalkeeper, Lucas Fabianski, and Fabianski clears now long, looking for that right-hand side, Jarrod Bowen, but Rudiger heads away. Pulisic completely mistimes the bounce there of the ball, and Rice will recover. Fornals with a lovely ball over the top now, looking for Mikel Antonio, but Christensen does really well. He was really alert there to get the ball away. That was dangerous from West Ham.
Yeah, lovely bit of movement. It was a really nice-looking ball into Antonio, just didn't have the pace on it required, and in the end, it was a good job that Christensen was where he was to be able to pick it up.
Yeah, Masuaku with a great effort. He's gone for a cross into the box to find Souček, but he's mishit it, and it's flying straight into the top left-hand corner. Edouard Mendy's been completely beaten there. He's been completely fooled, and I think Masuaku's fooled himself.
Yeah, wow, oh wow, what a goal that is. Just out of absolutely nothing. Masuaku sort of took an age to decide whether he was going to cross it, whether he was going to play it to Antonio, who was on the overlap. What exactly was he going to do? And in the end, he mishits it towards the top corner, and Edouard Mendy, expecting a cross, just doesn't go for it. He's not ready for it. So he then has to adjust, but adjusts late and palms it into his own top corner. Just seeing it again, Antonio finds Masuaku here, who, as I say, just takes an age to figure out what he's going to do. Antonio's run opens up a little bit of space for him. I think it deflects off Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which sails it away from Mendy, but I think Edouard Mendy should be saving that. He doesn't get enough for contact on it. It ends up in the back of the net. And I was saying that West Ham would need to be careful here. The last thing they wanted to do was open things up for Chelsea. Well, Chelsea have opened up. And Masuaku, who came on as a sub just before the break, has taken advantage. And West Ham lead.
Completely against the run of play, you may say, but I think, like you said, Edouard Mendy there just opened his body up to the point where he was almost had his back to Masuaku there, so he couldn't turn in time. I think that's poor from him. He really should have done better, but nonetheless, Artur Masuaku maybe had a hard time with Mason Mount on this left-hand side, but he's come up with the goal, and now he's the hero for West Ham potentially, unless Chelsea can do enough to salvage a point here as the ball goes long to Lukaku. Declan Rice is there to recover. It seems as though Rice has dropped quite deep into a central defensive role here, just to maybe usher this game out now with Souček ahead of him. The ball's gone through to Mikel Antonio now. He's one-on-one with Thiago Silva, and West Ham maybe grab another here as Lukaku tries to find Benrahma. Thiago Silva blocks. Antonio now. Ball into Benrahma, back to Antonio. Antonio's found Jarrod Bowen now, and he's through on goal here, and Jarrod Bowen has missed an absolute beautiful opportunity to put West Ham 2 ahead there, and he's just nicked the ball over the top of Edouard Mendy and over the top of the bar in that.
That should have been game, set and match. It really should. He times his run well. Just looking at a replay, he might have just been a fraction offside. Hudson-Odoi, the closest man to him. He opens up onto his left foot, looks to play it across goal. I think he's going for that top corner. Just leans back, blazes it over the crossbar. Massive, massive opportunity that for West Ham to really kill this game off.
Yeah, that could come back and bite them now as Benrahma looks to skip past Loftus-Cheek. He's been taken down there, and Andre Mariner has given the free kick in favour of the Claret and Blues. As West Ham maybe looking to slow the play right down here, being a goal ahead now. Bowen has gone down. Not sure whether it's a bit of gamesmanship there from Jarrod Bowen as he gets back to his feet. Maybe just run the clock down here for West Ham, as this would be a vital 3 points in their push for top 4 as they look to bridge the gap between the rest of the competition below them in the Premier League table. Still quite a gap between West Ham and the top 3, as they seem to be running away with it. However, they could bridge that gap between those lower to them and cement themselves in that 4th place in the Champions League spots.
It's a West Ham side who are very capable. They beat Liverpool 3-2 earlier in the season. They gave City a real run for their money last weekend. They've then potentially, we're into 4 minutes added on at the end of this game. They could potentially beat Chelsea by 3-2, which would be huge. So full credit to David Moyes, because they've got it right, especially in this second half. I think this second half they've changed things and it's worked an absolute treat. Again, they moved to a back 4. Chelsea haven't been able to break them down once. Chelsea haven't had a shot on goal since, well, a meaningful shot on goal really this half, if we're being completely honest, because David Moyes has got his tactics absolutely spot on. For Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel said that the performance in the win against Watford was their worst performance of the season. I wonder where he ranks this so far in that list.
Yeah, it won't be very high, as now a booking has just gone in for Vladimir Soufal here. 90 minutes gone, we've got 4 minutes of additional time. Soufal will be the next man in Andre Mariner's book, as Chelsea look to skip the game ahead quickly and salvage a point from here, as Reece James does well to beat Masuaku, but Souček's there ahead of him to clear the ball out for a throw, as Reece James isn't happy on the challenge from him from Artur Masuaku. He feels he may have been impeded, as Souček has gone down now again, maybe once again trying to run the clock down.
I think, to be honest, James is upset at the fact that a foul's been given against him for a challenge on Souček. He gets away from Masuaku just about, and then he almost tries to jump out the way of Souček clearing the ball away. And I'm not sure whether he lands on him or catches him or what it is, but that's what's put Souček on the floor and ultimately given Reece James his 3rd yellow card of the season. So just a little bit of Chelsea frustration at the end of this game. Plenty of happy hammers, though, at the London Stadium, because at the moment they are opening up a 4-point gap between themselves and Arsenal, who are 5th. The West Ham dream could be on, for them to finish in the top 4. They were unimpressive against Brighton in the week. Brighton did a job on them, if we're being completely honest. But today, they have done a job on everybody's favourite for the Premier League title.
Well, it's a vital 3 points dropped. If Chelsea do go on to lose this game, they are only 1 point clear at the top of the table, and West Ham will be happy to defeat the league leaders here at home in a London derby, as Reece James once again skips forward. He finds Mason Mount. Mount with a nice ball into the box. Pulisic finds it, but it's fallen all the way back to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's gone back to Rudiger. Rudiger now turns well on Benrahma and he slots the ball through to Pulisic. Just beaten to the ball by Declan Rice, who's been fantastic today in that deeper role now since Benrahma has come on the field. But Thiago Silva has now turned the pressure back onto West Ham. He looks to mount an attack here with Christensen goes out wide to Reece James. Reece James done beaten there by Masuaku, who plays a long ball over the top now, looking for Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio is tripped there by Andreas Christensen, and he probably will go into the book there. Yeah, Andre Mariner has got a yellow card out of his pocket for that trip on Mikel Antonio from Christensen. That was a really good chance for West Ham to attack Chelsea there.
Yeah, it's just clumsy from Christensen, just gets too close to him, clips the heel of Antonio, then almost trips himself up, really. The right decision from the referee, and a free kick for West Ham, who will take as long as they possibly can to do everything from now until the end of the game. We've only got 30 seconds plus any time to be added on, and West Ham have been good value, for this 3-2. The second half performance, for me, has been enough for West Ham, who've been great in this second half.
Yeah, they have, as Andreas Christensen has shown his 2nd yellow card of the season from Andre Mariner. West Ham with this free kick, nobody in the box here, everyone's very short, and unsurprisingly he goes short to Mikel Antonio as they just look to hold the ball here, as a nice flick from Benrahma tries to find Masuaku, who is chasing down Thiago Silva here. Masuaku, since scoring, has been a man reformed. He's been in the way of everything. As a long ball goes over the top, Craig Dawson heads down for Declan Rice. Rice pressured by Pulisic, but he sends a long ball forward, which has gone out for a Chelsea throw now, as David Moyes is just cheering his team on, hoping for them to hold on to these valuable 3 points, as West Ham still lead 3-2 here in this London derby now. Callum Hudson-Odoi just running to get the ball back, looking to get the game underway quickly. Rudiger sends a long ball forward, and Andre Mariner has blown his whistle here. It's finished 3-2 to West Ham in this London derby. A vital win for David Moyes, defeating the league leaders here. That is going to be all from us.
we got some next football here, so we have Newcastle versus Burnley here. We are all organized. Okay, already. That's it. So, I think we need to see here. So,